Hi there, I am Marin Smith and I am currently a junior at NMSU. I'm majoring in nursing and taking this course to better my skills as a preschool teacher, which I currently am. So my philosophy that I really follow in my classroom is progressivism. Progressivists believe that education should focus on the whole child rather than the content or of the teacher herself. I really believe that this picture depicts that by helping the child, but not doing it for them. How it started. The progressive education philosophy was established in America from the mid 1920s through the mid 1950s. John Dewey was a foremost proponent, and this is his picture here to the right. So, this educational philosophy stresses that students should test ideas by active experimentation. So, children should really be hands-on, and that's what I try to follow in my classroom as far as letting them test what they want. And this picture again shows it. So, learning is rooted in the questions of learners that arise through experiencing the world. So, we should really allow our children to ask questions and be vocal with their questions, but also to go beyond just asking the questions and actually finding the answers themselves. So really this is active and not passive. It's active because the learner is a problem solver and a thinker who makes meaning through his or her individual experiences in the physical and cultural context. So they really try out their ways. They don't just sit on them and let them pass by. So I really think it's more of like a monkey see, monkey do type of thing. So the effective teachers provide experiences so that students can learn by doing. This is really important so that students are able to see what they do and then they do it themselves. They need to be taught but need to be allowed to do things themselves. Students' opinions matter. Curriculum content is derived from students' interests and their own personal questions. So I believe that we should allow our students to really have a say in what we're teaching them and how they want to learn the information they need to. Scientific method. The scientific method is used by progressivist educators so that students can study matter and events systematically and firsthand by asking that question and then going on to solve the answer and experimenting what they want to learn. So I think schools should improve the way of life of our citizens through experiencing freedom and democracy in schools. This goes with not having so much of a teacher-based classroom, but having more of a student-based classroom, which is hard to do, but I think more schools should implement it. So I believe planning, shared decision making, planning of teachers with students, and student selected topics are all aspects that go into the planning. Like I said earlier, students should really have a say in what they want to learn so that they are more willing to learn and they're more willing and ready to come to school and participate. Books, books, books. Books are tools rather than the authority. I think more books should be taught as learning guidelines instead of a punishment for kids to read quietly to themselves with their books. Books need to be looked at in a different light. And then we have growth. Progressivists believe that education should be a process of ongoing growth, not just a preparation for becoming an adult. I believe that the growth needs to go beyond what they're learning in their classroom. It needs to go outside of it. They need to be able to become better humans as long with becoming better students. An example of progressivism would be in our class. We are in a group and a lot of what we're doing, we're actively learning through discussion. We're allowing our children to talk instead of just listening to the teacher speak. It's important for our children to talk to each other as well. So another example could be replacing homework with engaging in-class activities. Instead of sending children home with activities to do, we should really be doing those in the classroom, explaining them to one another, and allowing them to ask questions that their teacher can provide instead of being stuck at home with their parent who doesn't know what's going on in the classroom. Another example could be eliminating rules and consequences. I think allowing children to not be scared and not have certain guidelines to an extent is really what would help them learn more and help them be excited to come to class and not walk on eggshells while they're there. A benefit would be of progressive education is that teachers recognize and honor the creativity and passions of individual students. Creativity is allowed to blossom and flourish in these type of classrooms, and it makes me super excited. Another benefit could be that educators do not simply teach students information and expect them to memorize it, and it gets perfect scores on their tests. They are not focused on those testing as long along with they are focused on teaching their students and allowing their students again to grow and to flourish as individuals. So these are examples of what I have currently in my own classroom. I have their own tiger. They saw my example and they were able to do it themselves. I have their planes where they were able to create them themselves. This really allows the creativity to flow. Nothing looks the same because they were all able to do it on their own time. And in conclusion, I definitely think progressivism is a great educational philosophy to follow, and it is something that I will continue to follow in my classroom as long as for the rest of my time teaching. I love this student-based idea, and it should be taught everywhere.